very shoots controls.
To create a custom match, go to Custom Match. And then down here at the bottom, click Create. Now, one of the things that you're going to want to do is pick over here first, because as you'll see, it changes what happens over here. So we'll go ahead and do normal mode. Go and do Erangel, first person. Team battle is teams, so you can have anywhere from a team of 1 person all the way up to 10. Then you've got platoon battle, which is there's really only 2 teams, and then the team becomes squads. So if you have 100 players, it'll be split. So like 50 of them are on a team, and the other 50 of them are on a team. But then this will just be squads. So you'll have squads of 4 that are friendlies and stuff like that, and they just have dots over their head instead of actual like team numbers. And then if you want to password protect it, just click that icon there. So we're going to click create. So then go drop down to match settings. And if for some reason it didn't go private, which it does a lot, you can go ahead and do private there. But that won't take effect until you confirm. So I think this is a recent update, because it used to be once you started the lobby, it was locked into whatever perspective you had. Map is locked, so if you don't get the right map, then you're going to have to back out and do another one. But as you can see, you can change team sizes here as well. So rules, down but not out. Revive in normal mode, I pretty much don't mess with any of this. All that should be self-explanatory. Fragonades, you can set it so that people can only carry 2 frags or 2 smokes or whatever. You can adjust bullet damages to those areas of the body as well as melee damage. Same thing for throwable. So then you got your blue zone. So this is all in seconds right here. So delay is how long it takes to show you what the zone is going to be. Wait is how long it takes from once it shows you to a zone to when it starts moving. And then how many seconds it takes from when it starts moving until it closes completely. How much damage per second the blue zone does. And then what percentage this circle is going to shrink by. So this is going to shrink the map down to 35% of its current size. And then when this pops, of the new size, it's going to drop it down to 60% of what it was prior to that. I'm not sure what spread is, to be perfectly honest. And I've never messed with land ratio either. And then down here, I'll show you the total round time max. And then display end circle location, I think it only does that for like the last circle or 2. I'm not entirely sure what that does. And then you can also set it so that the end circle location is more likely to end up in one of these areas. You can turn red zone on and off, control how long it takes, all that wonderful stuff. How bad is the red zone? You can set platoon equipment up so that certain platoons, or so that the different platoons have different stuff. I don't really mess with that. I just leave it normal. Change care package frequency. You can turn on and off flare guns. And then you can adjust like how many care packages and stuff like that can happen. You can change your weather. And then you convert dead players to observer, which is where you can actually like fly around the map in observer mode and look at everything from a third or like more godlike view. Everybody else will just have the observation of, or spectating I should say, as long as you've got spectating on. But I kind of like to turn everything on. And they can only do that once their entire squad is dead. And then you can adjust spawns. Alright, so for spawns, Fixed ratio and adjustable total number. I just like to go to adjustable ratio and adjustable total number, and it'll give you your spawn rate multiplier. And so you can adjust. So now 2 times loot is going to spawn. You can also change how much ammo will spawn as a whole, or individual ammo. Like if you want to turn shotguns off as a whole, you can turn down 12 gauge. But what this will also do is, now that I've turned off 12 gauge, instead of spawning 12 gauge, other items will spawn in its place because I did adjustable ratio and adjustable total number. You can adjust sniper rifles, specific sniper rifles, sorry. Like you can turn off M24s if you want, and then you can turn up Kar 98s to double. DMRs, assault rifles, hunting rifles, LMGs, SMGs, shotguns, handguns, throwables, melee weapons. And so, like, if I turn melee weapons off, and the same goes for everything else above, then that means no melee weapons at all will spawn, even though these, I haven't messed with these. So now no melee weapons will spawn at all. There's your crossbow and flare gun. Sight attachments. So here are all the different sights, your sight attachments. So now no sight attachments will spawn, and now they'll spawn at 3 times the normal rate. Magazines, muzzles, foregrip, stocks, consumables, boost items, gas cans, backpacks, helmets. One thing to notice, or to take note of, like certain maps, level 3 vests will spawn, but level 3 helmets do not spawn. So if, I turn up level 3 helmets expecting level 3 helmets to start spawning, like I think it's Vikendi will spawn helmets but not vests, or I can't quite remember, but that map has to have that spawn enabled. Just like if I turn MP5Ks way up, but the map I choose is Erangel or Miramar, that is not going to enable MP5Ks to spawn because they do not spawn on that map. Clothing never spawns. I think that's just an old setting that they haven't removed yet. And then land vehicles. So if I turn off every vehicle, I'm not going to go through it, but if I turn off every vehicle but the motorbike will be the only vehicle that spawns. And where a van, Zima, Dacia, buggy would have spawned, now a motorbike is going to spawn instead because it's the only thing that's turned on. And then you can turn off boats and the aqua rails. Alright, so for zone times on normal mode. So then you got your blue zone. So this is all in seconds right here. The top is default for all the different zone times. The bottom is what I kind of recommend for what I call constant zone. Whereas you got a little bit of time to loot, and the zone takes a very long time to shrink, but it shrinks very far. So as you can see, I go from 40% shrink size down to a 1.5% shrink size. So it'll shrink down to 1.5% of the map's area on the very first zone. This is essentially taking zone 1 through 5 or 6 and combining them all into one. Yeah, zone 6, because zone 6 is out of 1,000, 16.25 of the area, and then this is just plain 16. So 420 seconds is 7 minutes. Since there's no delay, where the circle is going to go to is going to display once people get to the jet, or the aircraft, I mean, the plane, to jump out. So it'll show right away so people know where they need to go. And it's going to take 7 minutes before it starts moving, and then it's going to take 7 minutes to shrink down to that area. This could actually be a little bit faster, maybe for these areas. For Vikendi, that's 6 minutes, and then for Sandhawk, that is 3 minutes 30 seconds. Moving on maps that have vehicles isn't nearly as big of a deal as it is on Sandhawk, because Sandhawk, you're guaranteed that you got to run somewhere. This could probably be shortened just because people are going to try and land near where the map is. But you don't have to follow this guide. I just kind of recommend it. The other thing you can do is, instead of constant zones, do fast zones, which is essentially get rid of the delay and then cut everything in half, pretty much. Not so much the last few phases. The last few phases can kind of stay, but take 300 down to 100, 200 down to 100, 150, take that down to 60, 90, take that down to 60, 60, take it down to 45, whatever it is you want to do. And then the same thing for move. So that's going to shrink the circle much faster. People are going to be chasing the circle constantly, trying to figure out where it's going to go. So the kind of the pros and cons is, with turning all these down but leaving everything, people are going to be constantly changing the circle or chasing the circle, which can be kind of frustrating. But people move around a lot more, and so they're likely to run into each other and have battles and stuff like that. And it's kind of like a very, very fast-paced game. Whereas with what I've said down here with the constant circle is, there's kind of a balance, because people can spend a little bit more time looting, and then they can move into the center of the circle more at their leisure, I guess, because they're not getting someplace and then trying to figure out where to go. They can just kind of take their time getting to where they want to be and just kind of ride that circle in. So it's a little bit more of a slower game. It's not nearly as stressful, but it still speeds up, because as you can see, the total minutes of default are anywhere from 36 minutes all the way down to 26 minutes. Whereas in this one, you're talking about 20 minutes down to 18 minutes. And then if you do the fast circle that I was talking about, and you don't change like the last few circles, that's easily a 15, 20 minute game just by halving all that. And probably faster.
Too good. Too good.